Yep, that's right. Back for week 2, Saudi Arabia GP, and we have a lot going on. This is F1 P1 Life. Let's get to it. So starting right off, we got the American team. That's right, Haas, doing their thing, getting up into P10 for practice. Now, we'll see how much that's worth as far as qualifying gets started, but it's definitely a good look, seeing as Magnussen was not able to really get the ball rolling in the first few practices. Now, I will have to say, regarding these Mercedes-powered cars, it's a little bit troubling because you see them towards the back of the field. Now, I will say, I'm not quite so sure it's just the Mercedes power unit. Maybe it has to do with a little bit of the way they have to craft the cars around this power unit or something, or they're just not all on the same page as far as the aero is concerned, because there's definitely glimmers of hope. Obviously, you've seen Norris, Russell, Hamilton been able to pin it up into those higher positions a little bit, in at least the higher midfield positions, that's for sure. So it's not a complete clunker. You know what I mean? But it's definitely concerning. And yeah, Mercedes, it's the team itself does sandbag a lot. But for all the teams, Aston Martin, McLaren and so forth, to just kind of be farther down the totem pole there, it's a little concerning. So we'll see how that works out in qualifying. Lastly, I want to jump into one other topic before we get started on the qualifying times, and that is we got missiles flying, and obviously the world can be kind of dangerous. So it's good to see that everybody kind of collectively got around the idea that the GP should go forward. Obviously they feel that it's going to be safe enough to do so, and I certainly pray for everybody participating in this Grand Prix, not just the drivers, not just the teams, even the people in the stands, you know, the people that are in the concessions, everything. Everybody is just safe, and that nothing terrible or bad happens to anybody there, or really anybody in the country. You don't want to see that kind of violence happen. So, you know, praying for everybody over there. Now, let's get to the last minute of Q1. All right, so as we hit the last minute of Q1, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown here. Latifi had a pretty good spin out at around the 11-minute mark. Went right into the wall, just lost the rear, and really killed Sainz and Charles. Really hot lap. They were just about to finish it too, so that was pretty bad for them. But of course, you know, plenty of time left. The Ferrari's going to do their thing, and it seems like they kind of are for the moment. Now, I do want to mention Magnussen and Schumacher at that point, you know, were on the top of the list. Magnussen P1, Schumacher P2. Now, of course, it didn't last forever, but it's really nice to see the Haas is really battling it out here. And I'll give you the rundown in just a moment as we hit the final minute. Now, Sonoda actually had an issue with his power unit. They just put a brand new one in. They said it was some kind of fuel issue. Who knows? You know, could just be radio talk, could be really be something else. I haven't seen him out of the pits yet, and we're getting down to the final minute, so it may look like he's going to lose out on Q1. Now, honorable mentions, Verstappen was the first one to nail the 120s, quickly followed up by Charles, and then Sainz topped that. Now, I will say Hamilton was really struggling to get those mediums up to a good temperature. It was just kind of all over the place. Now he's actually on soft tires as well as Russell. And I will say, all that talk about the Mercedes, Russell right now is in P4 and Norris got up into P8. So, you know, some of these cars are able to do what they need to do. Like I said, Hamilton seems to still be struggling. His last outlap was his personal best, but he's still actually on merit down in the drop zone. So here's the final minute, and let's just roll it out and see what we got here. All right, so last minute, and we got Sainz, Verstappen, Leclerc, Russell, Bottas, Perez, Magnussen just went 7th, Gasly, Norris, and Guan Yu for 10th, Mick Schumacher, Alonso. Oh, what? Now we got Ocon in 11th, Mick Schumacher, Alonso, Ricardo goes 11th, Ocon, Mick Schumacher, and Alonso, and Stroll in 15th. Hamilton eliminated on merit. That is astonishing. I don't know what to say. I really don't know. I mean, obviously he's a 7-time world champion. He's one of the best qualifiers. I mean, but his teammate is up in P4. So I'm not going to say that some of it isn't Hamilton. It has to be. Is there something a little wrong with his car? Perhaps. He just, I mean, yeah, Stroll comes over the line and just pushes him out. And that's crazy. That's insane. So obviously Stroll in a Mercedes powered car. So wow, you know, the Mercedes works car, just something is not working right with Hamilton at this race. Now, I'm certainly not counting Hamilton out. I mean, we already know how he does in his racecraft. You can see people in the stands, heads just like this. That's how I feel. I'm not quite sure how this is happening. So We got a few people still finishing up here. The order's still jumping around a little bit. But I was almost certain that Hamilton was at least going to squeak out Q1 and then, you know, kind of have to battle it out for Q2. But he's way down there and something is just not working right. I wouldn't be surprised if we found something slightly off with the car. But again, as much as I'm a Hamilton fan and, you know, Team Mercedes, I mean, that's just I don't know, speechless, honestly. I don't even know the last time that's happened out on merit for Hamilton. It's just such a terrible thing to see happen. But I'm not going to give up on the race. You know, a lot of things happen, and if anybody comes and fights back, it's definitely Lewis. So, you know, we'll see what happens tomorrow. And as the order starts to finish out here, you know, I'll give you the ultimate. Okay. So the final for Q1, we have Sainz, Verstappen, Leclerc, Russell, Bottas, Perez, Magnussen, Gasly, Norris, Guan Yu, Alonso, Ricciardo, Ocon, Mick Schumacher, and Stroll. And if Hamilton was just able to squeak out 700ths, he would have beat Stroll and he would at least made it to Q2. This just wild, people, wild. So that said, on to Q2 and without Mercedes and without Hamilton and a Mercedes, believe it or not. That's crazy. All right, let's get to it. All right, so the big news between Q1 and Q2 is obviously going to be Mick Schumacher's huge crash. He caught up on the curbs, smashed up the left part of the car, spun a little bit, went across the track, hit the other side of the car, just completely gone. Thankfully, Mick is okay. He was seen, obviously, like kind of smiling, talking a little bit afterwards as they brought him back to the paddock. So that's the most important thing. As far as Haas, or as far as the qualifying, of course, it was red flagged, about 5 minutes left to the session. So that gives everybody a chance to still kind of do their thing, you know, bang in a better time if they can. Haas are definitely going to have their work cut out for them because there's almost nothing left to this car to really, you know, use for the next one. The only thing, you know, one bit of shining light is that the race is kind of late tomorrow. So that'll give them a little bit more time. But of course, they're going to have to completely build this thing, probably take a penalty. But again, the biggest thing is that Mick is okay. So shout out to Mick Schumacher. And with that said, we're at the last minute. So let's see how it goes. All right, so as we go into this last minute, we have Leclerc, Perez, Verstappen, Sainz, Alonso, Bottas, Russell, Norris, Mick Schumacher, and Gasly rounding out the top 10, but we'll see how that changes over the next minute. And we have Russell coming down on his flying lap, really not doing too well. 2 yellows in the first 2 sectors. There is somebody coming up as he comes to over the finish line, so he may get a little bit of tow from them. I can't tell. Looks like a Romeo. DRS opening right now, heading straight towards the finish line. Yeah, a little bit of a personal best in the last sector 3, but overall couldn't improve, so he's still in 7th. We have Norris that was trying to go for something as well, but looks like he rounded out in P8. Stroll coming over the line right now, DRS open. And yeah, he improved, but not as far as his position, so he's in the elimination zone. And then we got Alonso coming through. Good middle sector, or first sector, not so much in the middle sector. And coming around the last turn here and banging out towards the finish line. Let's see how Alonso does. He's already in P5. Yep, that's where he's going to stay. So, and Magnussen able to pull out P7, at least for the time. There's a few more cars coming through, but at least he's into Q3. So that's nice. And it looks like Bottas was not able to improve. He's going to finish in P6. So a little bit of change up here, but not too much. Right now in the elimination zone, we got Gasly, Guan Yu, Ricciardo, Stroll, and Ocon. Norris was able to make it to Q3. So, you know, good. I was going to say Verstappen. Good for Ricciardo, at least banging out a little bit better time, getting into Q2. I think he's getting a little more familiar with the car. He's slowly dropping down a little bit in the order, but he's already in the elimination zone anyway. Ricciardo pops up. Oh, Norris comes around again. Norris is now in the elimination zone, and that's where he's going to finish. Wow. And Ricciardo right behind him. Yeah, that's pretty surprising. He's a couple tenths off of his teammate Norris, but right behind him, Norris 11th, Ricciardo 12th. So we'd like to see the McLarens better than that, but they definitely improved over last week. And Ricciardo right behind his teammate is definitely a lot better look for him. So, you know, big ups to McLaren. Keep pushing. Hopefully we'll see you in Q3 and actually battling for the top of the midfield very soon. And as everybody finishes up here, this is the final order. Sainz, P1 so far. Leclerc right behind him, just about 1/10 off. Perez, 2/10 off. Verstappen, 2.5 off. Alonso, Bottas, Gasly, Magnussen, Ocon, and Russell in P10. So Russell just made it into Q3. So that's pretty good. He was on the soft tires this time, and he couldn't really improve. So I'm wondering if it was a little bit of like the energy system that they were using that was kind of changed up on Hamilton's car, or a slightly different setup, because they were saying, I think it was Sam Collins on F1 TV was saying that the straight line speed for Hamilton over, I think, even Russell was a couple kph's down. So, I mean, that makes a big difference when you're talking about the fastest street circuit. I mean, you pretty much see it as a huge, just almost oval with a lot of, obviously, twists and turns, but there's lots of straightaways, a lot of DRS zones. So, you know, if you're losing 3-4 kph on every one, that's going to make a big difference, especially if you're having trouble with the tires already, and Hamilton was on the softs at that point especially. So, you know, again, I think even they said, and I kind of alluded to it immediately, was that I'm not going to take somebody who's a 7-time world champion and just say, oh, well, you know, that's it. Obviously, his teammate outqualified him. He's done. Come on. I'm a Hamilton fan, but also just realistically, it had to be kind of something there. He was having problems with the getting the tires going and stuff. So, you know, it's very bad for Mercedes. Obviously, now Hamilton has to do a lot of work to play up to get through the field, but you know, that's how Formula One goes sometimes, right? So this is the big one, Q3, going to the last couple minutes here. I'm actually going to do the last 3 minutes so we catch their out lap and kind of their hot lap. So yeah, let's get to it. All right, Q3, and as it sits right now with 2.5 minutes left, we got Sainz. That's right, Sainz pulled it out. I told you, my boy 55. Leclerc, Perez, Ocon, Russell, Bottas, yeah, they're lined up again right now. Alonso, Verstappen, Gasly, and Magnussen is on the bottom of the list there for the top 10. So we're going around right now. Teams have just about one more outlap they can kind of charge up with, and then kind of just push in with that last final minute there. So we'll see. I feel like a lot of them were kind of pushing on their tires already. So, you know, I'm not quite sure what else, you know, some of them are going to do. I think definitely the Ferraris are going to, you know, Charles is going to want to try to get that P1 by that P1 life, I guess, right? You know, he's going to want to try to outdo his teammate. Right now, he's only 0.04 off his teammate. So Leclerc just starting his flying lap. And yeah, coming over to turn 1 and turn 2. I really think that Sainz is going to hold it here. You know, his teammate was able to scratch it out in Bahrain. But, you know, I said some of these older heads, and the same thing, Perez, at least right now, we'll see. Verstappen saying that he wasn't too happy on these tires right now. Not really sure there's much they can do, but you know what I'm saying? You know, Perez is actually in P3 as it sits, and Verstappen's over in P8. So, you know, not determining the whole rest of the season, but, you know, I told you some of these old guys are not going, well, you know, older, my age, whatever, but, you know, some of these guys are not going to want to go out easy this year. You know, it's a very good chance. Some of them are in great cars like the Red Bull, like the Ferrari, and they're really going to want to capitalize on what they have, especially when it just jumbles everything up. So some of their teammates that have been in the car for years, it doesn't really hold as much weight, some, but not as much weight as far as experience with that machine. So Leclerc, 2 purple sectors coming around. Oh man, he's on a flyer, that's for sure. Let's see, he's coming around the last turn right now, pointed towards the finish straight. And yeah, DRS open, over the line, tucked in real tight. Let's see, he pulls it out. He pulls out almost 2/10 on Sainz. Sainz is right behind him. How's he doing? No, he's not going to be able to make it. Leclerc did it. Hey, that is what it is right there in real time. Sainz was just, you know, he was really behind Leclerc too. And so I'm surprised he didn't pull a little bit of a toe from him on a couple of those straights. But his laps just weren't there. And Charles was. They were just all purples. So, hey, big ups to Charles there. Perez coming over the line. He grabs P1 with a 128.2. Wow. 200s off Leclerc. Nice. Wow. Where did that come from Perez? And Verstappen up into P4. So it's going to be Red Bull, Ferrari, Ferrari, Red Bull. Wow. This is going to be a race right here. This is going to be a race. So, oh man, Sainz and Verstappen are going to get a little bit of tow down into turn 1. It might get a little messy with those Bulls and those Ferraris, man. Oh my God. And this is looking exciting for tomorrow. Oh geez. And Russell down in P6. He's in the pits now, so it looks like that's probably where he's going to stay. Unless Bottas, Gasly, or Magnussen are able to pull something out, but I don't think that they're going to be able to. And wow, big ups to Perez, man. Where did that lap come from? Oh man, I just looked up and I saw a purple, great. Oh, tagged it. All right. Oh man, what a great lap. Yeah, he's excited right now, as he should be. I wonder what this race is gonna be like. I really do. Man, I can't wait for tomorrow now. It's gonna be very interesting. Very interesting. And big up to Magnussen, even though he couldn't improve on that P10, to get it into Q3 again, that's where Haas needs to be. You know what I mean? You're not going to stay with getting those points if you're not up on higher in the grid. Of course, you know, things happen in these kind of races, so red flags and people get, you know, pulled out of the race for damage and stuff, but putting yourself up there is going to make all the difference. And yeah, I'm very happy for Magnussen. Russell finishing in P6. Just barely tapped the wall, slid out. Oh man, that was pretty interesting. I think they're showing a couple of Ocon getting caught up on the barriers there. He almost pulled a Schumacher right in the same spot. Wow, and he was pointed right at the spot that Schumacher, you could see the marks right on the wall. The Alpine leaning right towards it. More of the front end of the car was about to smash in where the left side of Schumacher's car hit. He just was able to pull it out in time. That was just, wow, good for him, because I know Alpine did not need that. All right, so to give you the final lineup for tomorrow, it's going to be Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Verstappen, Ocon, Russell, Alonso, Bottas, Gasly, and Magnussen is the top 10 of the grid. All starting on the softs, of course. And it's going to be an interesting race, like I said. So I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow. Let me know what you think. How do you, what is your take on the Hamilton situation? Do you think it's more the car? Do you think it's more the driver? Do you think he's kind of slipping up now? You know, tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know what your predictions are for tomorrow. I'm going to predict right now that one of these two teams is not going to have one of their cars make it through turn 2. One of them is, I feel like one of them's going to be out. And I'm going to go with, ooh, man, it's going to be tough. I'm going to go with one of the Red Bulls are going to get tagged. I think there's going to be, I don't know who's going to tag who, but I'm going to say one of the Red Bulls isn't going to make it out of their turn 2 clean. And as far as Hamilton, my prediction for tomorrow, that he makes it up into P10, to the top 10. So there's my prediction. And yeah, as far as Russell, I think he's going to do well. Let me give him a different. I think that I'm going to say both Haas's are going to score points. So there's some of my predictions right there. Let me know. Are my predictions way out of left field? Am I crazy? What are your predictions? Leave those comments down below. Again, this is F1P1 Life. I can't be here if you don't hit that subscribe button down below. Smash that like button. I appreciate it. See you out on the racetrack tomorrow. SK, signing off.